Climate-smart agriculture is an approach that seeks to boost agricultural productivity, enhance resilience to climate change, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture, all in support of food security and sustainable development goals. St. Kizito High School Mukono in Wakiso district is one of the schools that have incorporated practical skills development into their curriculum to promote entrepreneurship and environmental awareness among students. The school hosts an annual Green Expo, which provides a green learning experience for all participants. According to the head teacher, St. Kizito High School, Kazibo Ezekiel, this expo helps to showcase the skills and products the students are doing in school.
The Green Expo, we are having challenges to environment. Today, the environment is a concern of everybody. We are having climate change, where our climate is changing for the worse because of practices like cutting of trees, among others. So, owing to the climate change problem, we have come up with a number of skills that are helping, that are intended to address the challenge of climate change. We have a number of projects that are aiming at addressing the problem of climate change. These projects are also aiming at equipping skills to the learners. We started this program, we call it Holistic and Practical Education Program, and it is aiming at equipping skills to the learners to make them function well in society, and also to equip them with the necessary skills that will help them navigate the problems around them, especially concerning climate change. So among the projects we have mushroom growing, we have fish farming, we have hydroponic gardening, where we grow crops like vegetables using only water without soil. We recycle. We have recycling, where recycle waste and produce a number of items like briquettes, charcoal briquettes in form of energy. Charcoal briquette, we get our organic waste, we dry it, we burn it, and then we transform it into briquettes. Briquettes is charcoal. And these briquettes are the ones we are using in the kitchen to prepare food for learners. They are very good. They save energy, and also they make cooking very, very, very cheap, and they are healthy. They ensure clean cooking in the kitchen. Apart from that, we make a liquid soap, we make bath soap, we make we make toothpaste, we make shoe polish, we make a lot. There are very, 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 very many to mention, but a few. So those projects we equip these learners with those skills that will enable them navigate life challenge, and also will enable them create jobs for themselves. Today, the biggest problem we have in the world is unemployment. But this unemployment can be addressed. We realize that if we prepare these learners at this secondary level by equipping them with skills, then we shall produce champions who will not only create jobs for themselves, but also create jobs for others. And this will help us address the problem of youth unemployment. And also we shall eradicate issues like strikes, the rampant strikes. I'm hearing now everywhere doctors strike, teachers go on strike, everyone goes on strike. But if we help these young ones, we prepare them, we equip them with necessary skills, they will be able to earn a side income. And with that side income, it will act as a supplement on their salary. We shall not have the discontented rot. We shall have a doctor who is treating you at Mulago very happy, who is supplementing the salary with the earned income that is generated through these skills that we have given him.
Kazibo adds that through the reducing, reusing, and recycle principle, they have been able to conserve the environment.
Actually, most of our projects emphasize waste reuse, recycling. We have the 3R, reduce, reuse, recycle. We emphasize the 3R. Most of our projects emphasize the 3R, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. We emphasize reusing, waste reuse. Today in Uganda, waste is unhealthy hazard. we are having waste, and waste has caused a lot of problems ranging from sickness, floods, among others. Yet waste is wealth. If you can look at waste, waste can be transformed into wealth. Here at St. Kizito, we are transforming the waste into wealth. We are getting this waste, the one people look at waste, and we transform into a lot of other materials that in turn generate wealth. For example, we have organic waste material. Organic waste. We collect this waste, which would have been thrown in water channels to block water channels. We burn it and we produce the briquettes out of them. We also make a lot of crafts. For example, we build houses, like most of our gardens, we are constructing them using plastic bottles. We are using waste. We have a water channel which is passing through the school, but that water channel, we are getting the silt from that water channel. That silt, we use it and we produce pavers. Today we are having a problem. I'm hearing people of Kampala crying about the flooding of the Nakivo channel. But because people are pouring waste there. But the solution can be even when we equip these people with the skills. For example, skills like paver making. Because we make pavers and bricks out of the silt from the water channels. If we equip these younger people with those skills, it will mean that these people will be able to clean those water channels willingly to collect that silt, so that in turn they can use that silt to make pavers and bricks. This will address, it will provide employment to these younger people, and it will also clean those water channels and ensure that they are safe, they are no longer flooding to become an environmental and health hazards to Uganda. Also the other waste. We use waste, for example, plastics. We make a lot of things using plastics and others. For us, we look at waste as wealth, because most of our projects depend on recycling the waste to produce a number of items like you see.
At the school, learners participate in projects such as waste recycling and smart urban farming, among others, equipping them with valuable green skills for future careers. Barbara today takes us through the waste recycling process.
My name is Ntude Barbara from St. Kizito High School in Namugongo, and I'm in Senior 5 Sciences. I'm here to present our project, which is the Food Waste Management Project. In this project, what we are trying to do is to show you that we can utilize the food that has been thrown away to come up with feeds for our animals, feeds for our birds. And here, this is our first step, where we collect the food from. So as you can see, we have a tank below it, so that in case of any soup, any water, it just drips down. And as a brief summary on what we use the water for, or the soup, we use it to come up with compost manure. And moving on to our project here, the food that we collect, after it being collected to a sufficient amount, we actually put them into a machine that processes them into noodle-like structures. Then after that, we also dry some other things along with them. We have bones, we have eggshells, we have peelings and some other things that you may throw away at your home. So after drying them, we make them, we pound them into powder form. As a school, majorly we have posho and beans along with rice and maybe bones that have been thrown away, maybe from meat, chicken. So those are the main materials that we get from within school, and also some peeling. So for the posho, it takes us about a week to collect everything to its full sufficiency within this whole drum that you can see. We move on to our dryer. And in this dryer, as you can see, we have the different materials that we've seen, mainly focusing on posho that we saw at first. Now, after collecting them, we put them in our solar dryer. And inside here, we have these racks here. We put them onto the racks and then put them in the solar dryer, which takes us up to a maximum of 5 to 7 days to dry them properly, so that we remove all moisture in case of pounding, so that we get that pure powder form that is very well pounded. Yes. So we don't only use posho, but as I said earlier, we also use bones. I believe you can see some of the bones inside there. We have bones. We also have some of the rotten vegetables, maybe which have been thrown away. You can see some tomatoes that were cut, and after being cut, maybe they got spoiled. So for us, we brought them in for drying. We have those tomatoes there that have been spoiled. We have the buns. We have the beans also mixed up with the posho. And then we also have maybe this rice over here. So we just collect them in there after shaping them properly and then dry them. So the main aim of having this is just the drying of them at the end of it all. I briefly mentioned it earlier on that we have a machine that processes the bigger foods, maybe posho in case it's in a bulk. What happens is we have to reshape them so that they turn up a bit smaller for easy drying. What happens is we have our machine here which helps us to do that. This machine helps us to mold the bigger particles like posho, like sweet potatoes. So what we do, we put them in here to get noodle-like structures, the noodles that we normally eat. And that is a structure that easily dries. So this structure, we put it on the racks and then move on to the solar dryer. We don't only have a solar dryer, but we have an electric dryer over there. But this electric dryer, actually, we have a fan on top and we also use briquettes down. So you can see that eco-friendly kind of thing that comes along with it. We use briquettes because we are not using charcoal, we don't cut down trees, trying to solve that. So we use briquettes below to provide the heat, and that fan helps us to take out the moisture that has come up within the drying process. Then after drying,
How long do they take in that?
this one actually takes us about just hours. Within hours, like around 7 hours, we are done with drying them and then we can get them out.
What about in the solar dryer?
The solar dryer takes us 5 to 7 days, meaning this one is more effective than the solar dryer. And also the solar dryer, it won't shine every day. Tomorrow it rains, today it shines. So you have that gap. But with this machine, we are able to dry even at a maximum of having the drying happening each and every day and coming up with the feeds every day. So after drying, we have the pounding section. So we have the buns here. The buns, we process them into powder form. These ones are mostly needed by the chicken because they provide more of that calcium, hardening the eggshells for those egg-laying kind of birds. And then we also move on to the black soldier fly larvae. This one, we actually placed it there to replace the silverfish that we'll be requiring to buy. So we actually rear them from here, and then after rearing them, what happens is that we just dry them instead and come up with this powder to provide more of the proteins to our animals. Now this one can go into all types of animal feeds because all animals need proteins to boost and to boost their body growth. Moving on to the eggshells, these ones we transform them to the powder form, and this powder form is used mostly to the birds, the egg-laying kind of birds. They still have that same calcium, and at the end of it all, you will have birds or your chicken that will be laying eggs that are actually more productive and more hard, the harder eggshells, beans to provide proteins. So after collecting everything in its powder form, we will have a section where we process them into the pellets you can see around here. So these pellets here, during their formation, dependent on the animal, that is the type, the amount of the nutrients we put in. Now let's look at the chicken. We put in the eggshells, a different amount, beans, the powder, then we put them into that machine that makes them into the pellets. In most cases, it's dependent on which type of animal you're trying to feed, because the costs incurred for some of the animals differs. So what happens is, as we try to price them, we try to look into that. But for the chicken, our price goes to around 2,500. Now this is a sample of the processed feeds, and this one is for the animals. There is a list for the different animals you can actually feed these to. And for these ones, for the animals, we actually put in there some grass. Because remember, they have to feed on the grass. Normally they feed on grass. So we also include the grass there as a raw material during production, so that as they eat, they feel that taste and they don't actually discriminate the feeds after buying. So they are able to eat them, process them in their stomachs, and then at the end of it all, have better yields when it comes to animals. It's a good idea to even start up, regardless of the machinery it requires, and my family members will actually implement and they like the idea.
A mushroom house that is made out of plastic bottles that could have been hazardous to the environment is also sited at the school, including composite manure making pits.
My name is Baseke Esther Opai, a student at St. Kizito High School, Namugongo. Now this is our, let me call it a mushroom house. As you can see, our mushroom house is made of plastic bottles. First, we just used the bottles because we wanted to promote recycling. Since these plastic bottles, imagine if they were dumped, they have very many negative impacts to the environment. And this mushroom house of ours is a multi-purpose house. So we put them here since there is a lot of moisture, and up there we are having smart agriculture. So it's a multi-purpose house.
Okay, hello dear viewers. Here before is Nelson. And I'm going to take you through the process of compost manure production. You know, in our environment, most of the people like to deposit things anyhow, like biodegradable waste such as food waste, animal waste like cow dung. They just deposit anyhow. But we as St. Kizito young youth, we decided to come up with the compost manure production, and what you see here is how we make the compost manure. Yeah, we have 3 pits where we put in our biodegradable waste. The first pit is where we put in our fresh biodegradable waste for them to decompose. They take a period of 3 weeks for them to decompose, but we keep on turning to allow the decomposition to take place. After the period of 3 weeks, we transfer them to the second pit, which is here. Also, to give room to that biodegradable waste which wasn't decomposed to be fully decomposed. After that period, we just transfer them to our collecting pit here, where we have a fully decomposed manure ready to be used in our garden. But before we take it there, we know it can be producing the bad odor. So to solve that, we use the ash or the briquette powder to reduce the bad odor as we mix. Then if you don't want that, you can just dry it. Then after you crush, produce this powder. Yeah, produce this powder which is smell free. If you don't want to add in the ash and what, you just dry, then after crush. Yeah, with that we are able to conserve the environment, to reduce that pollution around the environment. Yeah, and we shall enlighten our future. The garden, you can either top dress as how you put like the mulches. You can top dress, but otherwise if you don't want top dress, you can mix before you cultivate. You mix with the soil, so that can be good for cultivation. So far, it has helped me to see that we can conserve the environment. We can reach funds. We don't need to buy these chemicals we use like the NPKs. We can just make our own fertilizers, whereby it will not harm the environment, and it is cheap.
The school has several other smart agriculture projects, including poultry farming, hydroponics gardens, fish farming, among others. St. Kizito High School, Namugongo's integration of smart agriculture into its curriculum provides a powerful example of how practical skills, sustainability, and community impact can be effectively intertwined. Through these innovative practices, the school equips students with valuable, marketable skills and an entrepreneurial mindset. This forward-thinking approach to education serves as a model for aligning classroom learning with both national and global development goals.